Hey guys, this is Avi from Flow Village. As all of you guys know that we are kind of stuck now, right? I've been I've shut down my studio and just doing my online streaming classes from home, and my students are joining me 3 times every day. Just wanted to let you guys know that we are trying to continue moving as much as possible, even though the situation is in a very weird situation at the moment, right? So that being said, I posted a video of a short flow earlier today or yesterday, I think. I put a little comment on the post that okay, if anybody's interested to learn the flow itself, so that I could break it down into really tiny pieces, to let me know. And I got quite a few comments out there that people were interested to know how it's done. So this is the video. So think of it as a movement class that I generally do in my studio, right? I'll try to break it down as much as possible, try to follow it. I'll do everything with you guys at the same time. Okay, good. So that being said, before we get into the movement flow itself, let's start with a little bit of warm up. We'll start from the head and go all the way down to our feet, right? So we just sit in a comfortable position and start rotating the neck all the way around. Choose any direction, keep moving slowly. Maybe 7, 8, maybe 10 of them in one direction. And reverse the direction. If you have done 8 in one side, do 8 in the other. If you've done 10 in the other side, 10 in the opposite direction. Okay, let's start rolling the shoulders. Once again, let's roll it 10 times forward and then 10 times backward. Try to explore the range of motion that your shoulders allow. So don't just do small little circles, but try to make the circles big. And let's reverse it. Okay, now let's come to all fours. We will do another shoulder rotation exercise, but this time we will be on our hands. I turn sideways so you could actually see the movement. So here I'm trying to keep my elbow straight and just rotate the shoulder, and my entire upper body goes up and down as I rotate my shoulder. Notice how I'm not bending my elbows at all. And opposite. Okay. Now let's come to our hands. So I'll come to my knees, because if your hands, some people have like shorter hands. So if your hands are kind of touching the floor when you're sitting on your heels, come to your knees. And then we'll basically start rotating the hands. I just got on top of knees so that my hands doesn't swipe on the floor or hit the floor as I rotate it. So once again, 8 or 10 forward and then 8 or 10 backwards. And the other hand. Just destroy my plant. And opposite. Okay, then let's bring both the hands to the front. And then one hand goes up and the other hand goes down. So this requires a bit of a coordination. So one hand goes up and the other hand goes down, and you continue circling the hands. If you lose the flow, which happens quite often if you're not used to this, come back to the center with both the hands to the front and then start again. And then let's do it on the other side. So meaning the hand that was going down before will go up now. hands a little bit. And then let's move on to our fingers. So interlace the fingers, and then let's start creating a wave. So you would raise the elbow, raise the wrist, pass the wave over to the other hand, all the way to the elbow and down. 8 of them. And on the opposite side. Okay, now interlace the fingers again, just like you had before, and just rotate the entire wrist. You can do a little bit more of these, like 15 or 20 of them, and opposite. And let's come to all fours. And then we would basically start rotating the wrist randomly, one hand at a time in any direction that you feel like. So shift my weight to my left hand, turn the right hand, shift my weight to my right hand, turn the left hand, and I continue rotating in any direction that I feel like. Just repeat that for a few times. And then just sit back, shake the wrist a little bit, and we come back to our knees again, and the hips. Start rotating your hips in any direction once again, 10 of them. Try to keep the neck and the head at one point while rotating the hips around. And opposite. Okay, great. Now let's come up to our knees, to our feet, and then we join the feet together, hands just above the knees, and rotate the knees. 10 of them in one direction, and 10 in the opposite direction. A quick warm up of the ankles. Shift your weight to one leg and rotate the ankle in the other one. 10 in one direction and 10 in the opposite. And switch your weight to the other leg and do the same. Okay, good. Now we will start moving into some warm-ups, but associated with the movement itself, and not our joints and muscle warm-ups are kind of okay. We should be able to start moving now. So we start by sitting with both the knees in front of us, on our feet, hands behind us, and then we'll basically start lowering the knees on one side and to the other side and the other side, just to start mobilizing the hips. Keep doing that a few more times. Then we start circling the legs. Try to make really big circles with every leg. Notice how I'm rotating my entire hip. I'm kind of pivoting on my hips actually from one side to the other. And the hands are always in the same spot on the floor. Okay, great. Now we come down to the floor. Hands on either side, knees are bent, just like before. And then the first thing that we do is we lower the left knee, so this knee, down to the floor, and the right leg goes all the way up towards my left hand. So I'm trying to draw a circle with my big toe on my right leg. I bring it back up and I'm back to starting position. I drop the right knee down and the left leg goes up on the opposite side. And I'm back. Other side. Try to keep the big toe always in contact with the floor. Two more. Okay, and then come back to the center. Now we will do a little bit of bridge and arch. So first thing that we do is we lift the hip up, we roll over to our left shoulder. So my weight right now is on my left shoulder. Okay, so I have twisted my upper body, however my hips are still facing the ceiling. So I just shift my weight to my left shoulder, I look down towards the floor and I lower myself down. Do the same on the other side. Hip up, shift my weight to my right shoulder and lower the hips down. Hips up, hips down. Hips up, hips down. Hips up, hips down. A few more of these. Two more. Okay, we'll take this down to a little bit of a higher level, whereby we do the exact same thing. So I'm on my left shoulder. Now what I'll do is I'll take my right leg, lift it off the floor, so my weight will come to my left leg. And I'll turn my hips, so my hips turn towards the floor, but I'll still keep my hips high. The hips will not fall to the floor. So here, I lift the right leg up, turn my hip, I tap the floor with my right foot, and notice my weight is on my left shoulder. Okay, so once I tap, I bring it back and I'm back to my bridge. Let's do it on the other side. So I shift my weight to my right shoulder, left leg comes up, tap the floor and I come back. And other side, tap, come back. Tap, come back. Tap, come back. Tap, come back. Two more. Tap, come back. Tap, come back. Okay, great. So from here, one last thing, as part of the flow we would need this, and so I think it's worth just doing this little thing. So during the flow I have to do less of an explanation. Yes, we start with the right knee up and the left knee down on the floor. And we basically swing the hands to feel the torque that we are creating in our body. You know, like my body now tries to go to the back and now it tries to go to the back on the other side, right? So we'll use that momentum, lower the knees and lift the other knee up. Okay, so we rotate both the knees on the floor. I'm facing the back of the room. Switch my weight to my left knee so my right knee can come up and I'm back. Both knees on the floor, open to the left. Both knees on the floor, open to the right. Knees on the floor, left. Knees on the floor, right. Two more. Last one. Okay, great. So that being said, we'll start with our flow now. So the starting position is we are sitting with our legs straight out. Okay, spine long and straight. The first thing that we do is we look to our left and then the hands go to our left behind us and dive with the head and with the chest, and then once your chest touches the floor, use the hands to drag yourself forward and then lift yourself up. So once again, I'm here, look to the back, hands on the floor, dive on the floor, pull myself up and turn to the floor. So turn to the front. If I show it to you from the other side, so I'm here, look to the left, hands on the floor, dive, push myself up, and I turn around. Okay? That's the first step. So once you've done that, then we will do the same thing, kind of the same thing on the opposite side. But then we'll come up to our knees. So starting from the beginning, dive, up, dive, and I'm on my right knee. So what basically happened was, I did exactly the same thing. So the starting part is exactly the same as on the left side. So I hands on the back, dive with the head, chest goes towards the floor, and then as I come up, I bring the right knee down onto the floor, whereas the left knee comes off the floor, and I'm using my right knee to pivot myself around a little bit. So I'm facing, kind of looking at the camera once again. If I turn around and show you the exact same thing. So the first step, down, push myself, up. Second step, down, right knee, left leg pivots. Good? Makes sense? Perfect. So we ended up in a position after the last move with our right knee on the floor and the left knee higher up. This should be our position at the moment, right? And from here, what we will do is we'll basically keep your eye on that calf over here, to my right calf. I'll keep rotating it. So right now it's here. I'll keep rotating it until it comes and passes by my left foot. When it passes by my left foot, I can use my right hand to support myself so I could lower my hips down, right? So once again, from here, all I did was this, hands, and my hips are down. Good. From the beginning, you start in this position, turn to the left, pull yourself up, turn to the right, pull, and on your right knee, pivot a little bit. This calf keeps turning, and you're down on the floor. So let's add the next step to it. So from here, we rotated, this calf comes down, and I rise up to a bridge. Really push the hips up, reach for something behind you with your left hand. And your weight is on your right hand now. And lower yourself down. Good. So once again from the beginning. Look to your left, dive. Look to your right, dive. On your right knee, calf keeps turning. Right hand on the floor. Rise up to a bridge. Lower yourself down. Okay? Let's add on to that now. So we end up in this position. Then the next thing is a shoulder roll. So this knee, so your left knee is high at this point of time, and the right knee is lying down on the floor. All we do is we lower the left knee while the right knee comes up. So all we are doing is shifting our weight from our right hip to our left hip. And once we are there, then we do the shoulder roll. The shoulder roll is essentially nothing but you place your hand on the floor, your palm is very close to your knee here, right? And then your forearm is on the floor, stuck to your thigh essentially, right? So there's no gap between my thigh and my forearm. And then I'll try to lower my shoulder next to my palm on the floor as much as I can. So once I'm down on the floor here, what I do is I'll swing that right leg all the way to the other side while lifting the hip up. Lifting the hip up is important, right? And then I'll come to a position which is in yoga, it's called a plow, right? So here you go down. This is a plow position. So all I did was basically hand on the floor, forearm on the floor, shoulder on the floor, okay? And from here, I would swing that leg in that direction while lifting my hip up, right? So you could also think of it this way, that first, now your weight is all on your left hip. you want to shift all of that weight to your left knee from your left hip. So what you're essentially doing is this, right? So my weight is on my left knee and my shoulder. I'm kind of on the side of my head. Now people often struggle with what to do with the head now, right? So what you need to do is tuck the head under, think of as if you're looking at your belly button, right? So it's important that you need to dive under and tuck the chin under, because you need to shift your weight on the top part of your shoulder here, or the back of your neck here, right? You're not on the head, but in the upper back, in the fleshy part of your upper back there. So what you need to do is dive under, and then you could lift up that knee, which is bearing your weight, and you would roll over to your shoulder. Okay, one last time. So once we're here, palm on the floor, forearm on the floor, shoulder on the floor. Now from here, I would swing that right leg forward, raise the hips so my weight is on my left knee, then straighten the left knee, and I roll over to my back. Okay, what happens next? Once we are here, I want to roll over to the other shoulder. So I just got up from that side, I want to go down from that side. So I take this knee, so my right knee, lower down to the floor, and the moment it reaches lower down onto the floor, I would basically start pushing the floor with my left hand so I could lift myself up. Okay? So once again, I'll do it from the other side so you could see what exactly happens. So once we're here, left arm on the floor, forearm on the floor, elbow on the floor. Okay? Then I swing the right leg, shift my weight to my left knee, and then I lift the left knee, look at my belly button, and I'm in plow. Then I lower the right knee down into the floor, and the moment I do that, I feel that my weight gets shifted to my right shoulder actually, and I start pushing with my left hand to lift myself up. Good? Okay, let's do it in a flow from the very beginning. So what we do is look to the left, dive to the left, look to your right, dive to your right, come on top of your right knee, keep that calf rotating, right hand behind you, rise up to bridge, lower down your hips, then the left knee falls to the left, arm on the floor, left shoulder on the floor, plow, lower the right knee down onto the floor. As you push up, I will do a little rotation. So I'll pivot on my right foot so I'm facing the camera again, right? And once I'm here, we'll move on to the next step, whereby we will just do the same exercise that we did before. So from here, rotate, both knees on the floor, right knee comes up, and I rotate back up. Okay? So once again, so we finished here. Rotate, knees on the floor, other knee comes up. And before we basically start to do it from the beginning once again, let's just add the next one, because this is a relatively easy step. So from here, as we come up, use your hand to come down to this position. So what we basically did was rotate, right knee comes up, right hand ready to support me as I start lowering the hips, and as my hips touch the floor, I switch the legs to come to a position which I call it an S seat, because it's like an S seat. Okay, so both the knees are kind of fallen in the same direction. Good. So let's do it from the beginning before we move on. Look to your left, dive. Look to your right, dive. Right knee, keep rotating that calf, bridge, lower down. Shift your weight to the other knee, left shoulder on the floor, plow, lift yourself up, little pivot to face back to the camera. We continue turning, shift the knee, fall to an S seat. Okay? So once we're in S seat, now the next step basically requires you to imagine that your left knee is super heavy. right? I need to lift it up, right? So once we're here, what we will do is grab the left knee with the left hand. It's not heavy at all, right? But you need to imagine that it is. So really lift it up and lower it down to the other side. Good, okay. So you need to imagine that the left knee is super heavy. So grab it, lift it up, and it brings the other knee as well. As this knee falls on the floor, this knee is still high up, right? Then the moment it falls on the floor, shift your weight to your left hand and turn all the way around. Okay? So once again, from the S seat, left hand, grab that knee, your left knee, lift it up. As it touches the floor, left hand on the floor, and you pivot all the way around. So from the beginning, look to your left, dive to your left. Pull yourself up, look to your right, dive to your right. On your right knee, keep turning that calf, right hand behind, bridge, lower yourself down. Left knee comes down to the floor, shoulder roll, left shoulder, right knee onto the floor, little turn to face back to the camera. I keep turning, both knee on the floor, right knee comes off, right hand behind, and I fall to an S seat. Lift that heavy knee up, lower it down, circle. Okay? Next step. So when we did the circle, if you've seen, I'll do that again just so that you see it. So heavy knee up, it falls down, left hand down. Now what I want you to do is focus on my left cuff, so this cuff here. How this rotates, where it is, what it's doing, okay? So when I go up, you see it kind of circled all the way from here to here, right? I stopped it because this is where we finished in the last flow, but what we want you to do is basically keep circling that, circle that until it comes to the front and your hips can come down. Now, do not lower the hip before this calf crosses this area. Because if you do that, you would end up this or this way. I want my hips to be down on the floor when this part of my leg is in front of me, right? So I'll wait until this goes all the way to the front and then I lower myself down. Okay, good? All right, let's do it again from the heavy knee part. So when we're here, left hand lifts up the heavy left knee, lower it down, left palm on the floor, circle, this keeps turning until I'm on the floor. Good? From the very beginning, let's do that once. Sitting straight, legs straight, look to your left, dive to your left, pull yourself up. Look to your right, dive to your right. On your right knee, keep turning that calf, right hand below, and then bridge. Lower yourself down, left knee goes down to the floor, left shoulder on the floor, shoulder roll, right knee on the floor, push yourself up, a little circle, keep circling, knees on the floor, right knee comes up, right hand behind, that's supposed to go down, and then use the left hand to lift the heavy knee up, lower it down, circle, keep circling that calf until you're down on the floor. Okay, good. Last couple of steps remaining. So once we're here, what we will do is we'll basically bring both the hands to the back, so to the left and back. And that, what it does is, I want to shift my weight to my hands. The moment I shift my weight to my hands, it allows me straighten the legs. So we're kind of coming back to the starting position. So once again, hands, straighten the legs. And then I go back to the other side, bend the knees so my feet are pointing up, and push myself up to an S seat. So once again, we were in this position, hands behind, straighten the legs, lift my upper body up again, hands to the right, and now I'm creating a twist. I'm not just flipping over, right? I want to create a twist. I want to create an impression that my upper body is turning and then it's dragging my lower body afterwards, right? So upper body turns and lower body turns and then I come back up. Okay? That's the end of the flow really. So let's do the whole flow once from the very beginning to the end. Here you go. Starting position. Look to your left. Dive to your left. Pull yourself up. Look to your right. Dive on your right knee. Keep turning that calf. Right hand on the floor. Bridge. Come down. Flip the legs. So your left knee's on the floor. Left shoulder on the floor. On your shoulder, right leg on the floor. As you push yourself up, circle. Keep circling, knees on the floor. Right hand behind, lower yourself down. Heavy knee, lift it up. Drop it to the other side. Circle, keep circling that calf all the way down to an S seat. Both hands behind, legs straighten up. And then twist, push yourself up. Great, that's it guys. Give it a try. One advice is don't try to rush through the flow, right? Because that's what people tend to do. Do it slowly as it is needed. It always helps while you're doing a particular step. You're trying to think, okay, what's next in your head, and do it slow enough so you plan in advance, okay, what's going to happen next. If you forget, do that again, right? But just remember, doing it quicker makes it more confusing, right? Do it slow. Give yourself time to think about the next step while you're finishing a given step. Okay? That's it for now. Enjoy. If you have any questions or anything, any comments, whatever, just let us know.